When the theme music comes on, you know it's time to podcast. Hey, what's going on? I'm Rob Akinpor. This is the A Game. We bring people that are always bringing their A game, especially during the pandemic, and we're finding some interesting people throughout the country. And I'm lucky that the guy up above me here on the screen happens to be a friend of mine from a couple of years back, still doing his thing out in Philadelphia, PHL 17 in Philadelphia on television. On my cable system, by the way, that's channel number 19.
Okay.
And he's good to know, right?
Yeah.
So we got Mr. Anchorman, Weatherman, sports guy, producer. He's done it all for Channel 17. He's also still a part of the #1 radio station in Philadelphia, B101. That is my buddy Jason Lee. Hey, thanks for bringing your A game today, bud.
Rob, it is always good to see you, man. It's been far too long. I'm glad we get a chance to catch up here.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so I'm going to make you be a producer for a second because I was doing the news, and you were you've been up since about what 2:30 this morning, I'm guessing.
I'm at work at 2:30.
Oh, okay. So you're getting up at like 1:30.
My alarm goes off at 12:30. I did get a nap in today, though. I got a nap.
Well, thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
All right, so you're a producer. I'm going to try to play like news guy for a second because of the one story that broke out of Hollywood. See if I can actually do this right. You can grade me on my performance. So here goes nothing. So Hollywood loses one of its favorite sons today as actor Brian Dennehy has passed away. The former 6-time Emmy nominee who made his reputation through TV movies really sparked interest in a lot of people because of his role in the movie Rambo, playing a small-town sheriff. Between the late 70s and the late 80s, Dennehy was a part of some of the biggest box office movies that included Foul Play, 10, Cocoon, Silverado, FX, Legal Eagles, and Presumed Innocent. His comeback in 1995 was thanks in part to Adam Sandler in the movie Tommy Boy. Dennehy would win a Golden Globe in 2000 for his role on television playing Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman. Dennehy, the last few years, was seen on NBC on the series The Blacklist. Dennehy, he was 81.
I'll tell you what, I hope somebody was rolling tape on that.
I may have a future. I don't know.
Rob, it was smooth. It was concise. It was conversational. It was good stuff, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I didn't realize that he was in the Blacklist. That's that James Spader show, right?
Yes, it is.
I hear it's a great show. Never watched it, though.
I've only seen a couple of episodes. That's one of those shows that's kind of flown under the radar for a lot of people. But when I see it, I go, it's good. I don't know why I haven't watched any more of it. That happens sometimes.
My parents love that show, and I make it a rule to never watch anything that my parents watch. So, no, my mom raves about that show. So it's a good show.
Let's turn your attention to Channel 17 for a second. You got there, about 2013? Is that about the time you signed up with them?
I should know this. 2014. December 2014. It's actually my second tour of duty there because back in the day, you guys remember the WB network?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Which is now the CW.
Right. Well, but at the time, it was WB 17. And I was there. I'm going back to like 2000, 2001. I was a freelance weatherman there. I was full-time doing radio, but I was a freelance weather guy there. So it's actually my second time back at PHL. December 2014 is when I started there.
And that you took the unconventional route, I think, because most people who get into TV news or getting into that genre, they usually go to a small market, do their thing on television. You were actually entrenched in radio. You've done a couple of morning shows. So you took the path of, in my book, least resistance, going from radio to television.
I lucked out, man, because, it's like you said, most people, and in TV and radio, you got to, kind of build your career. You travel around the country. You kind of live out of a suitcase. I've been in Philly my whole life. This is where I was born, raised, and never left. So I've been very lucky. And the TV thing, I just kind of fell into. Honestly.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm.
Well, so what happened was, at least going back to PHL, there was a very small television traffic channel called Tango Traffic. Like two people.
Oh, I remember this. Yes.
Yeah. So I was the morning co-anchor there, but we did traffic hits on Channel 17 because we were kind of affiliated with them. And Steve Highsmith, who's a name that longtime broadcasters know, he's been around forever. Longtime host of the Mummers Parade. He was handling the news at Channel 17. He actually brought me back in to produce news. I've never produced news in my life. At the time, the station was airing a national morning show and just doing local cut-ins.
Right.
So he wanted me to produce the cut-ins. Then after he hires me, he says, you know what? We're starting our own local newscast. Excuse me? I never produced news in my life. So it's been a cool ride because I've done a nice mix of on-air and off-air there. So, you know, and nowadays with everything going on now, it's like, you know, TV news is it. And I'm thankful to still be working.
I want to get into the TV news angle and what it's like now in 2020, especially with the pandemic. But talking about your role, you have had basically you're the jack of all trades. You can anchor when you need to anchor. You do sports when there's needed sports. Earlier this week, you're doing the weather. And even though I don't have a clip of this, I do have a photo that was posted on Facebook. It is your traffic person reacting to you as you open the umbrella in the studio.
Yeah.
That is classic.
Well, see, you have to know that's Jenna Meisner, who is just, I mean, she's adorable. She's fantastic.
She is. Jenna's great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, she's fantastic on the air, and I mean, and you know, with her, what you see is what you get. She's a sweetheart off the air too, but I know she's very superstitious. So if you know, so I filled in doing the weather on Monday, and if you remember, it was just a mess of a day. High winds, heavy rain,
ridiculous.
So I'm not above using props. In my weather presentation.
Yeah, this is true.
Oh, you know, I got to alert you guys. Hang on.
Okay.
Hold on. Something just popped up on my phone. My phone was fully charged, but it said a low battery message popped up.
Okay.
So I may have to. I'm gonna have to text my son to bring down the power cord. So bear with me for just a second.
No
anyway,
problem.
The story is, you know, I'm not above using props. So we happen to have an umbrella just offset. So I grabbed the umbrella, and I knew Jenna would freak out. So I, put it up on the air. And oh, you know what? My son's watching this right now. Hey, Ethan, go into my work bag and bring the power cord for the phone, because otherwise, Rob's gonna lose me. We can't have that happen.
And Ethan, come on the screen because I want to use you for a second as well. So I appreciate you bringing Ethan. So you saved me a trip on that one.
Cool. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Rob, it was fully charged, I swear.
I'm telling you right now, this is the one thing I've learned about podcasting this way with the phone. This will suck the life battery. I started at 95%. I'm down to 70 already. And we're, 7 minutes into this? So believe me, I've learned you've got to be as fully charged as possible. So, Ethan, thank you when you get there, by the way.
I'm just want to make sure he heard this. So I'm listening, Rob.
No problem. No problem. This is the great thing about a live podcast. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah. This is Jason Lee from PHL 17 in Philadelphia, also from B101 Radio, the #1 radio station in Philadelphia with over 1 million listeners on a regular basis. Is he answering, I hope?
He's not answering.
Oh, jeez. Ethan, hello. I got a photo of you that I'm putting up here. Come on, you got to get down here.
You got a photo of him?
No, I actually got a photo of something that he did recently that I was blown away by, and I think everybody needs to see it.
I hear movement upstairs. Okay, so
all right, good. I think that may have done it. And we'll give him like 10 seconds of fame here for sure.
You got it. Okay.
While we're waiting for him, real quick, when you talk about the news right now, we're starting to see like stuff like we're doing right now is now more commonplace than ever before. You don't have as many people in the studios because you're trying to do the social distancing. So what is that like in the booth as you're trying to produce this? You've got probably more moving parts than you ever have before.
Well, that's the challenge. It's not just actually executing the show. It's putting the show together, because we literally have people in 10 different locations. Right. Hang on, Rob. We may have to move the camera just so the cord will reach. Hang on.
Oh, of course. No, do what you got to do. Absolutely. And this is where the adjustments happen on the fly.
And Rob thought he was getting a broadcast professional here, but
no, see, you're the professional. Please, I'm just
without a battery here.
I'm the dumb radio guy. What do you want?
Ethan, say hi. Say hi. Come on. Say
Ethan, come on in real quick.
This is Rob. Rob's a great guy. Come on.
Ethan, real quick, if you would.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Ethan? While I got you here, Christian, if you could put up the photo of the moon, real quick. Ethan, I got to give you props on this. This is an incredible photo. I mean, I don't know how you got that, but that is just amazing.
Thank you. Although I'll be honest, I didn't take the one of the moon. That's actually a composite. So
okay.
That's actually about a combination of 4 photos. I took the photo of the road, I did like a panoramic sort of thing with my camera, and I merged them all in software. And then I found a picture of the moon, and I kind of composited that in Photoshop.
That's amazing. That really is just an incredible photo. I had to bring that up, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to bring you into this. And then, of course, your father's phone's dying. I'm like, perfect. I can bring him in.
There you go.
Hey, thanks.
Ethan, thanks so much, my friend.
Anytime.
All right.
No problem.
So, so you were asking about like everybody being in different spots.
Yes, very much so.
It's hard to put the show together because we literally have people in 10 different locations because so many people are working from home. Associate producers are home.
Right.
Editors are home. Photographers and reporters are home. They just go right to their assigned location.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's bad enough under normal circumstances. And you know how it is. What's the expression? How you work in communications, but there's a lack of communication.
Lack of communication, exactly.
Which happens a lot. Well, imagine if people are in 10 different spots.
It's true. Very true.
It makes it that much more difficult. But, that being said, I think we've done some of our best newscasts during the pandemic, because it's amazing how, not to be cliche, but in times of crisis, a team pulls together.
Yes, very much so.
I think our team is pulled together, and we're smaller than the other stations in town. We're the little guy.
Sure.
We've got like half the staff of stations like Action News or NBC 10 or CBS 3. I mean, and they're fantastic, but they've got a lot more people than we do.
Right.
So I think the fact that we're putting on a newscast that's on their level, if not better, a lot of mornings, I think it's a credit to what we're doing.
And it's also a 4-hour cast. You're starting at 5 a.m. when it goes on, and like you said earlier, you're getting in the building at such an early hour. I mean. Yeah. You have passion for it, which helps, because I can imagine if you hated your job, I mean, getting up at that hour, you'd be like, oh, great, I'm doing that again.
Well, you know what it is? I mean, and people have said to me, wow, you really must love what you do to deal with the hours. Now, you know what I love, Rob? You know what I love? I love being able to pay my mortgage. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
I love being able to support my kids and put food on the table. So,
right.
Look, I love the job. Don't get me wrong. The hours, I'm not going to lie, the hours totally wear me out sometimes.
Right.
It's, and you've worked weird hours too in radio. I mean, you've done morning shows.
I've done morning shows, and back in the day when I first started, my first full-time gig was midnight to 6 a.m. before all the technology had come into play. So, I remember 2 years of no sleep.
Me too. Actually, I got a couple of awards back here. I don't want to brag, but
please brag.
We're doing overnights. Well, hold on. It's right here. So that's
there you go. There.
I did overnights on B101 for 6 years, and you're always tired.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, I'm not really doing overnights now, but in a way, I kind of am. I'm getting up.
No, you are.
In the morning.
Absolutely. So, it's the same, almost the same sleep pattern that you had when you were on B101 during the overnights. Absolutely.
Right. So, and it's the kind of thing where, you don't eat right because you feel like you constantly have to fuel your body. And studies show, and maybe I'm using this as an excuse, I don't know, but studies show that when you're tired, you crave junk food.
Oh, I can attest. Oh, the 2 years I was doing mornings, that's all I ate. And that's why my weight literally went up about 60 pounds in a span of 2 years. I was like, what the hell? Oh, yeah. Then you start to think about,
Rob,
yeah.
The last couple of years, I put on like 30 pounds. I have.
Oof.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's hard.
You may have seen this. I put this on Facebook the other day. When I filmed it on Monday, I get home from work.
Right.
My neighbor happens to be outside. My next door neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
She says to me, "Hey, I saw you on TV this morning." I said, "Oh, thanks for watching. I appreciate that." She said, "You know what? You look a lot better in person."
What?
What? So yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. I love you too. Thank you.
There you go.
Jason Lee taking his time here on the A Game. Again, you can watch him on PHL 17 News in Philadelphia and in Central and South Jersey. Channel 17 is on your cable system. Look for it. He's also on B101. What's the hardest thing right now about radio at this point? Because I know because of the pandemic, you're not doing your normal weekend work on B101 right now. And no. I'm sure you miss it. I know you're a radio guy at heart. You love TV, but you still have that passion for radio.
Yeah, I've always said radio is my first love.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, when I was a kid and I knew that I wanted to, talk into a microphone for a living,
Right.
it was listening to the radio. I mean, specifically sports. Broadcasters like Harry Callis and Merrill Reese and Gene Hart with the Flyers.
Yeah.
Everybody that I gravitated to as a broadcaster was on the radio. So yeah, radio was always my first love. I miss it. I find myself talking up songs in the car as I'm driving home. You know what I mean?
Yes. Sadly, guilty. Yeah.
Yeah, just to see if you can hit the post, right?
Just to see if you still got the timing. Exactly.
But I mean, look, all kidding aside, when the pandemic hit, the company I work for, Entercom, they wanted to limit foot traffic in the building,
right.
which I get.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got full timers working the weekend shifts, tracking it.
Right.
So, I miss it. I totally miss it, and I have no idea when it's coming back. And listen, I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir here because you and I'm not just saying this because I'm on your podcast.
Right.
I think you are a fantastic radio talent.
Thank you.
I love what you do on the air. You're a personality. You got enthusiasm, and the fact that you're not on the radio, I think, is a sad commentary on our industry right now.
And look, it would be.
You got passion for it.
I still do. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I really still do, and I think, and I feel for everybody because it's not just Entercom. Kind of was the first company to kind of make that move, and it was the right move. But now everybody's kind of fallen into behind with all the other stuff. So there's a lot of good people right now that are not being able to do what they do. So I know I'm not alone in this world at this point.
Right. And then, a couple weeks ago, and I know other companies are doing it, but my company, Entercom, that I work for part-time, they just had to lay off a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
So, and that's what's sad to me. I mean, besides the obvious of people losing their jobs, to me, radio would always shine in a time of crisis. You know what I mean?
I agree with that whole, because I think back to 9/11 and
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a time. A funny story. I was working at WSTW, just getting started at that point. And I was actually, driving down there, and I was doing reports for Johnny B, who was doing the morning show at that point on STW. I was standing out at Sandy Hook and giving reports from there. We all really did turn that whole thing into more 3 days. We scrubbed the music. It was about giving everybody what they needed to know at that point. At that point, you're not thinking about music. There was a time and a place for it, but at that point, definitely not.
Oh, no. I know. I agree with you. And I remember the aftermath of 9/11. I was working at B101, and we helped people grieve. We helped people mourn the loss. And then we helped everybody, start to heal and start to, get back to as close to normal as possible as you could after something like that.
Yes.
Radio would always shine in times of crisis. And, as somebody who has a passion for radio, it hurts me to see that radio is scaling back.
Yes.
During this time. Because to me, radio should be doing the opposite. Radio should be stepping up.
Very much so.
Helping people deal with this. And I don't know, it's a shame because I feel like for years radio has taken away what makes it special, and that's the ability to be live and local.
Yes. I mean, that's really what it began with me when I was working out of a house in Eatontown, New Jersey, doing modern rock, and we were really attached to the whole Monmouth County community. And this from being down in Jersey, because you had your chops down there for a while. You know that working in certain communities, you really become a part of that community, and you try to communicate to that community. And you learn that it can only help you later on, like it has with you in Philadelphia.
But even in a big city, you become a friend to people. When you're there every single day, whether it's radio or TV, when you're there, it's like a friend that they could depend on. And that's why in times of crisis, people turn to their friends on the radio to help them get through it. And I just wish, I understand finances, I get it.
Yeah.
But I wish there was a way for radio to kind of keep stepping up even in this time where the ad revenue isn't coming in, it hurts me to see how radio has scaled back.
Yeah. Well said, my friend. Well said. Jason Lee from PHL 17 News, also from B101 Radio in Philadelphia, being a part of the A Game. Okay, so we're at the part of my show I like to call random shots. These are random questions that come from anywhere. Usually I usually have a shot with me. I'm like, it's on the other side of the room, so I'm not going to walk up and get my shot of whatever I had ready. But with that in mind, yes, I've got a few questions. Yeah, thank you. Take a sip.
I'm ready.
All right.
Unfortunately, it's only water. I may need something strong.
You might. No, some of these are easy. Some of them I think you're going to understand. All right. Okay. Obviously, we're still in the middle of the pandemic. So what are you looking more forward to the first chance you get when you get out of the pandemic? Dining out or a haircut?
Well, luckily I got a haircut. I would ask you that question, but I know what the answer is.
Yeah, well,
No, luckily I got a haircut like right before everything shut down. So my hair isn't that bad just yet. And I don't mind my hair getting a little bit long. So at this point, I would love to go out and get like a nice steak or a nice chicken parm or something.
So since you answered that way, what is the first restaurant you want to hit when you have the chance to dine out? Say you're taking your wife out, where do you want to go?
It's a good question. I got to think about that.
Okay.
I might go KC Prime. It's a steakhouse not too far from here. I don't know. I thought it was a franchise, but maybe it's not. But it's a great steakhouse in Warrington, Pennsylvania called KC Prime.
For me, and it's funny because I was thinking about that myself because I spent a lot of time in Philly a few years back, and I still come back to the Continental on 2nd Avenue. I still come back to that place where I literally want to go in there, the tapas menu, get the cheesesteak egg roll, and get me the astronaut martini. I like any martini. It's doused in Tang. What can I say?
Wait, what? So it's a martini with Tang? I've never had an astronaut.
They lace the glass in Tang and they put the martini in it.
Interesting.
It's kind of cool.
Okay.
It's kind of cool. I recommend it.
Well, listen, you and I are way overdue for a lunch. So
you're right. Yeah, this may be it. I know you're a big-time sports fan when it comes to Philadelphia teams. So what Philly team are you missing the most right now with no sports going on?
I'll tell you what. I am a huge hockey fan. And the Flyers this season, they were really cranking it up right before everything shut down.
Yeah, they were, to their credit, yeah.
Yeah, so I really feel like had the season continued, I mean, now, even if they start the playoffs now, everybody's been off, so who knows how rusty teams are going to be when they come back. But had the season continued, they were on such a roll. I really feel like the Flyers could have been one of those sleeper teams in the playoffs. They could have surprised people and maybe gone farther than people thought. Not saying they would have won the cup. Not saying they would have even gotten to the cup finals, but I think they could have gotten maybe to the Eastern Conference finals. Their new coach, Alain Vigneault, has really gotten the most out of that team. So I'd love to see them come back. If not, I'm eager to see what happens next season.
Obviously, as a passionate fan, is Bernie Parent meeting him one of the highlights of your work on Channel 17 when you met? Because you met your share of celebrities. Would Parent be one of the top ones you've met?
Parent is probably the top one. And the first time I talked to him, it was a couple years ago in the summertime when I was doing weather every day. I used to be the regular weather guy a couple years ago. So every Friday, we would do weather live from a different shore point along the Jersey Shore.
Lee by the sea, yes, indeed.
So we were in Cape May, and I forget how it even came about. I think I saw online that there was some like Bernie has a fishing tournament every year down in Cape May to benefit.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, to benefit the Ed Snyder Youth Hockey Foundation. Ed Snyder was the guy who founded the Flyers, the late great Ed Snyder.
Right.
And he started this hockey foundation for kids. So I saw this online, and I figured I'm going to reach out to Bernie on Facebook and see if he wants to come and talk about it. And he told me, he's got a boat down in Cape May. I said, we're going to be in Cape May.
So, way to go.
So I interviewed him. We did two separate hits on his boat in Cape May. And he's been in the studio a couple times since then. And, that probably was the biggest thrill of my career. Just growing up a Flyers fan. One of the times he came to the studio,
Right.
actually about a year or so ago, just from previous conversations, I had mentioned. Let me backtrack. On his boat, he kind of gave me the tour, and I saw he had this big thing of cigars on his boat. And
Okay.
I mentioned that, I love a good cigar, and I said my dad is a big cigar guy, so me and my dad like to smoke cigars from time to time. So fast forward about a year, he's coming to the studio to do an interview on our show. He brings me a cigar to give to my dad.
Oh, man, that is great.
And apparently, and I forget what company it was, but they made Bernie Perrant cigars. So the ring on the cigar said BP, his initials.
Right.
So I go to my dad. I'm like, "You proud of me now? Here's a cigar from Bernie Perrant." Okay.
Perfect. That's a great story, by the way. That is really good.
He's a great guy. He's an awesome guy, and he lives not too far from me. I'm in Warminster. He lives in Warrington, PA. So I hear stories all the time. People see him in the local Costco, and he's always stopping to sign autographs, to say hi to people. He's a good dude.
You mentioned doing the weather. Do you think that's the hardest job as far as doing television news? Because it seems like the weatherman or the weatherwoman, the meteorologist, always catches and I could say it this way, it's a podcast, the most shit.
Oh, we can curse on here?
Yeah, you can.
I'm not used to being able to
well, neither am I. I'm still getting used to this. Trust me.
In broadcasting. You know what? The weather is the most scrutinized. No doubt.
That's a good way of putting it. Yes, it is.
And I think weather people get a bad rap because what people and listen, let me just to be real, I'm not a meteorologist, okay?
Right.
Full disclosure. That being said, I know that if you're tracking a weather system, if you're tracking a snowstorm,
right.
If the snowstorm moves ever so slightly to one side, it dramatically changes the totals that you get.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's hard to predict the weather. It's really hard because, look, weather systems have a mind of their own. And you have all this technology, and you have all these models that you look at, and you try to come up with the best prediction based on all the models you see, but it's not always going to be correct. It's a very inexact science, but I think everybody does the best that they can. It's just a very difficult job. And I don't think the average viewer realizes how difficult it is because, again, if a storm moves even just slightly to one side, it's going to dramatically change the totals that we get.
And you know the joke that's always happened by the regular people. It's like going, yeah, weather people, they can be right 50% of the time and still have a job. I mean, come on.
Exactly. Well, hey, listen, baseball players can get a hit only 30% of the time, and they can make
well
$30
said.
million
Thank you.
a year. You know?
Yeah, we're not making $30 million a year. That's for sure. Where's Bryce Harper? Hello.
I mean, seriously, you're batting 300. That means you fail 7 times. I mean,
there you go.
But look, I understand 300 is a good batting average, but the reality is you're failing 7 times.
Yeah. No other way to put it.
So I think weather's the most scrutinized. I think the hardest job sometimes is actually doing the traffic because I've done that too.
Right.
When at the start of the newscast, there is nothing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
True.
So you got to fill up a minute, sometimes even more than that, and there's nothing going on. So at least with weather, if there's nothing going on, you still have stuff to talk about. Hey, here are the present temperatures. Hey, winds are kicking up out there. Hey, here's the satellite map. You've got stuff to talk about. If there's traffic, it's, all right, here's 95. It's clear. Here's the Schuylkill Expressway. It's clear.
Meanwhile, trying to go very slowly to stall long enough to get to the minute. Right. Now, back to
I think
you.
Traffic could be the hardest job.
Okay.
Anchoring, I will tell you, if you've ever read a teleprompter, Rob, sometimes those words just kind of blend together sometimes.
Yeah, I've only done it a couple of times, and I remember when I was doing some corresponding work for a cable company called CN8 at one point, and they were doing...
I remember CN8.
Yeah, and, got to thank those people for letting me do it for about a year. I was basically a music correspondent for them. So you're trying to do the... And I'm doing it a lot. A lot of it was off the cuff, and then I tried to do it off the teleprompter, and I was like, you could tell I had the deer in the headlights look. I'm like, I look lost. So after a while, they were just like, Rob, wing it. We know you can wing it. I'm like, thank you. So yeah, I get. Yeah,
it's funny you mention that because I've only anchored a handful of times, and it's been years since I've done it.
Right.
But doing weather and traffic, it is off the cuff. You're not reading a teleprompter. You're just going up there and talking. I had an easier time doing that than I did reading the teleprompter.
I believe it.
I know exactly what you mean.
Okay, a couple more before I wrap up here. I'll do the music one last, I think. Let me get the photos ready on this because I got to find out from you who's the better mascot. Is it Gritty from the Philadelphia Flyers, or is it the Philly Fanatic?
All right. Listen, the Fanatic.
Here we go.
The Fanatic's the king. The Fanatic is the best mascot in sports. Gritty, I think, is in second place.
Mm-hmm.
Approaching first place.
Okay.
I don't think anybody can top the Fanatic. You know what? The Fanatic is the greatest mascot in sports. I do love Gritty. I'll be honest with you. When they first introduced Gritty, my first thought was, what the hell is that?
I think that was everybody's reaction, though, Jay. Everybody was kind of looking at this thing going, what?
I saw that, and I'm like, that's going to scare children. What is that?
Thank you. Well said.
But honestly, kids love them.
There you go. And it's funny. We put the photo that we put up. You had actually put on your Twitter account. He's playing with the ping pong ball, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, he kind of looks adorable there. I got to give him that. He does look cute there. He doesn't look as menacing. You know what I mean?
You got to see the whole video because what he did, bouncing the ping pong balls.
Yes.
Anybody watching at Jason Lee on air, the whole video is up there. It's hysterical, and he comes off very adorable, very engaging, very lovable, but he's not the Fanatic.
No, he's not. And even though I'm a guy who grew up in the Jersey area, the Mets and the Jets, God help me, we never had a mascot. So credit where credit's due. There's no doubt.
Well, you got Mr. Met, right?
He's there. I like him, but he's not the Fanatic. I'm sorry, he's
the
not.
Big baseball head, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I got a baseball head. That's creative. Sure. Let me tap into your music. I got two more questions for you that we'll wrap up. When it comes to music, since you've been on the air for so long, last year, new releases. Give me one song that really stood out for you.
New releases?
Yeah, within the last year, I'll give you.
Oh God, honestly, Rob, I'm drawing a blank. I'd have to think about that. Because you know what, all new songs kind of blend together. To a degree,
I'll give you that.
And I'll come out with a title, and it's like, Jay, that was 3 years ago, man. So,
That's called showing your age, brother.
Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, I like Hey Look Ma, I Made It from Panic at the Disco. When did that come out?
I think that was about 2-3 years ago, actually. Yeah,
okay,
roughly.
I love that song. I love Panic at the Disco.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta think. My knowledge of new songs is limited to what B101 plays. To be honest with you.
Okay, I appreciate the honesty on that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because it seems like for the most part, when we hook onto a song, it's already been out for a little while.
That's true. B101 is basically a station for anybody who doesn't know. They're gonna, once the song has been majorly established, it winds up on B101. That's what they do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got nothing for you, man. Sorry.
No problem, man. No. The last one you knew probably was coming because anybody who doesn't know Jason Lee, the man is, I have dubbed him the pun master general. If you follow him on Facebook, you follow him on Twitter, he's got a pun. And I'll give you a good example because this is one that took my attention. I wrote it down. And this is one you did, I think, probably about a year ago. New study shows people that wear glasses are smarter. Now, no glasses for me yet. I like to cause a spectacle in other ways. Well,
I think you might be the one person who liked that. I don't know.
Yeah, I probably was, but But I mean, what does this pun thing come from? I mean, obviously this is something you've had inside you probably since maybe you were a kid, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you ask anybody that I went to school with,
right?
They'll tell you that you know, when they see me put stuff like that on Facebook, I'll get comments like, "Wow, you haven't changed a bit," or something like that. You know, I don't know. It's just something that, call it a gift, call it a curse. I don't know, but I'll be talking to people and in the midst of conversation, something will pop into my head,
right, based
on what somebody just said. I'll just come out with a line, or I'll look at stuff around me and I'll make a joke about it. Like, hey, I'm bored with this, Rob. It's a piece of the board.
Yes.
Piece of the board. Hey, how you doing, bud? So it's your bud.
Yes.
See, but I've learned if you have to explain the joke, it's not very good. So.
No, but it's just got to flow. But when it flows and you nail it, it's like, I think the Cinco de Mayo one has always been my favorite. You post that every year.
Yeah, well, you just hit it on the head. I post it every year.
Yeah.
A lot of these jokes, if I had $1 for every time I told them, I wouldn't have to work.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't. Yeah, it's true. That's a perfect way to wrap up here. Jason Lee, you'll find him on PHL 17. He's part of the morning news team. He'll be back on B101 hopefully soon in Philadelphia. Jay, I appreciate the time. Thanks for coming on and being a part of the A game today, man.
Hey, Rob, it's always a pleasure. Been too long, and let's do this again, okay?
We definitely will. We'll definitely do it again soon. And by the way, don't forget to follow me on Facebook and follow A Shared Universe on Facebook. And you know what? I'm going to have to get you in contact with the guys from A Shared Universe, because on Channel 17, they might be interested in the former guys from Comic Book Men on AMC who now run a podcast studio.
Why not?
There you go.
Bring it on.
Absolutely. Until next time, for Jason Lee, I'm Rob Acampora. Take care of yourself. Peace.